this is the fifth webinar, Rex webinar, that is called The Great Change. And the agenda of today is this one, which I start to introduce very quickly the purpose of the Great Change webinar. I introduce the speakers and myself. Then we'll talk about tactics for lockdown. Now in this period, there are different countries are in different phases of the evolution of the virus. Then we'll talk about strategies, and at the end with Gabriella, we leave time for question and answers. Let's start now with the purpose. Why we created these webinars, because we were inspired by this phrase, can the fitness industry have a wider, deeper, more inspirational function? We think yes. And this is why we called it the Great Change, because we can really do something important for the health of the bodies and the health of the planet, for the health of our 7.8 billion people living in our planet. And we know that we'll never be healthier than the place where we live. So it's very important to take care of our place. And also, right in this period, the safest thing that we can do now is to stay fit and healthy. So this is why we decided to invite these speakers, owners, entrepreneurs, associations, experts from inside and outside the industry to help the fitness industry to survive, revive, and thrive in the future. So together for a healthier planet and healthier bodies. Let's go now and let's introduce our speakers. And I'd like to start with Julien from France.
Hello. Hello, everybody. My name is Julien Corbiere from France. I've been a Rex Roundtable member for the last 6 years. And I want to say that they really helped me change my business and my life. And especially during this special time, what Rex provide me is huge. So I just wanted to start by saying thank you. As of my presentation, I am the CEO and shareholder of my father's group. He created it 40 years ago. We are now 700 employees, but right now we are only 7 left because of the event that you are pretty much aware of. The group is composed of 6 regular big box club and 1 pretty unique facility that we opened 31 years ago. We have around this 1 unique special facility, 25,000 members and more than 4,000 daily attendants. This special facility is called Aqua Boulevard. It's about 70,000 square meters, I would say 700,000 square foot. And actually, this is one of our critical success factors for the reopening because we have space. We're lucky enough to have a lot of space, even inside Paris. Beside this, we have one of the biggest indoor pool in the world. We have around 700,000 visits per year in this pool. And to finish my quick introduction, we also have a restaurant, 150-seat restaurant, and 1 4-star hotel that has 200 rooms. If I want to finish by saying what's happening in my country, I want to say that the government helps us quite a lot. We can have loans and stuff like this. But the thing is that they don't really care about fitness. They don't talk about fitness and how sport can be so important in our health. So that's the downside. But on the upside, the official end of the lockdown, if the situation is not getting worse, is on the 11th of May. My guess is that our fitness reopening would be between the 1st and the 15th of May, something like this. And if I want to talk our overall operation, our hotel is going to open first. That's for sure. Next week, the hotel is going to open. Rather than this, I'm looking forward to exchange with you guys all our tactic strategy and vision about what we're going through right now.
Thank you very much, Julien. Let's go to Poland. Alexander.
Yes, hello, my name is Alessandro Wilewski. I'm a Swede with Polish origin who grown up in Sweden and moved to Poland roughly 20 years ago. I'm the owner and founder of Total Fitness. We have at the moment 14 clubs and we've been in lockdown since the 13th of March. We are a normal big box, around 1,500 square meters clubs. What is specific with the Polish market is that we have a few outliers, and one of them is that we have a group called Benefit System and OK Systems, which is a B2B owning a very big part of the market, which almost between 30 and 50% of the market is owned by those companies, similar to Gym Pass or others aggregators, except that in Poland it's done through the, it's more B2B, that the companies are buying the memberships. And the second outlier we have is that despite being quite a big market, none of the big chains have really got a grip of the market in terms of size. We have a 24/7 Fit1, McFit, Fitness World here, but none of them have been able really to grow with huge success. Most of them have stopped around 10 to 15 clubs. It's a different market than many others, but it will continue to grow when we open again, and we will just take the benefits from it. I've been a Rex member for 3 years, Rex International. It's been a big benefit for me. I think the group is very giving, and it's a great opportunity to work in a group where you can share a lot of information and have a few laughs, and also don't feel that you have any filters. So once again, Fausto, thank you very much for being part of Rex International.
Thank you for the introduction. Let's go now to US. Blair.
Hello, Fausto. Blair McHaney, CEO of MXM, stands for Member Experience Metrics. We work with about 700 clubs on operational member experience management. So we're constantly bringing in experiential data and helping companies get better. Also president of Confluence Fitness Partners. We have 2 health clubs going under the brand Works, W-O-R-X, up in the state of Washington. I'm about 2 hours from where the first COVID-19 broke out on the west coast of the US. We've been shut down since March 16th. Don't expect to open, optimistically would be June 15th currently.
Thank you very much. Stefania from Switzerland, from the European Lifestyle Medicine Organization, the president of the organization. Stefania.
Yes, good morning. I'm Stefania Ubaldi and I'm a medical doctor. I'm specialized in internal medicine, but mainly in the last year, I'm just focusing on preventive medicine and on this new branch of medicine, which is called lifestyle medicine. So I represent the European Lifestyle Medicine Organization and another one, a new one, a recent one, the Swiss Society of Lifestyle Medicine, and practice here in Geneva, in other cities in Switzerland, also in Italy. The practice is based on the behavior change of the patient through nutrition and physical activity, the management of stress, the behavior change to prevent chronic diseases. And I thank you very much for the invitation, because there are a lot of important points to talk about the collaboration with fitness centers and other reality on the territory to help us doing the work of behavior change for prevention in the medical field. So thank you.
Thank you, Stefania. I think we can do a lot in order to make this great change a reality. Let's go now to Russia. In Russia, we have Irina And Irina, please, can you introduce yourself? Just a moment, I unmute you. Okay, you can talk.
Thank you, Fausta. Hello, everyone. My name is Irina Kutina, and I am CEO and founder of Encore Fitness in Russia. Encore Fitness is a big box premium clubs with membership from $1,000 to $5,000 per year. 3 clubs now operating in Moscow and will be opening, hopefully, till the end of this year, 3 more clubs in St. Petersburg, Yekaterinburg, and Sochi. All clubs, the situation now in Russia is not very good. All clubs in Russia have been closed since the 22nd of March, and now the pandemic in Russia reaching up its peak, and then after plateau it should be going down, of course. Now our clubs are closed. Membership for customers is frozen, and we do some maintenance in our clubs. And thank you, Fausta, for inviting me.
Thank you to you. And let's go to UK. Dave Wright.
Thanks, Poster. Hello, everybody. After this introduction, I think we'll finish the actual the webinar, won't we? Because we'll run out of time. But so Dave Wright, I'm the CEO and owner of CFM, Creative Fitness Marketing, which is a marketing company that gets members for gyms. We've been doing that for 30 years. So since 1990 in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the States, and Ireland and Canada. So that's been going for a while. Everyone there is on furlough at the moment because we can't get members for gyms when the gyms are closed. About 15 years ago, I started Feel Good Fitness. Notice how I've got the logos there so I can find myself. So about 15 years ago, I started Feel Good Fitness. So I've got a couple of those clubs in the UK, and then we branched over to Australia with Voyage Fitness. Both Australia and the clubs in Australia and in the UK are all currently closed, obviously, although in Australia we find out on Friday whether the actual, there will be a plan of lifting. There hasn't been many cases in the last 48 hours. So Scott Morrison said that. In the UK, it looks like it's going to be at least another 6 to 8 weeks. And then about 9 years ago, I launched this little baby up the top called MyZone, which is a wearable tracker for clubs that's currently in 84 countries, roughly about 7,500 gyms and 1.5 million users. We actually have still been sort of like plodding along with MyZone. In the EMEA, we're up 28% year on year compared to last year, but that's because people can actually get their belts and be delivered at home. Globally, we're only up about 9% year on year because there are some of the big customers globally that haven't been able to order in bulk. So, hey, it's a pleasure to be here and hopefully share some different perspectives from both the UK and Australia and of course, some of the feedback that we get from gyms around the world that we've got pretty close contact with.
Thank you very much. Now let's go to the last speaker from the outside the industry, from the automotive industry, also important experience in the Singularity University. Alessandro from Switzerland.
Thanks Fausto, and thanks everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. I really appreciate it that you would like to have I would say side view of what's going on in other industry. My name is Alessandro Ameli. I'm Italian living in Switzerland. Currently I am sales director for commercial vehicle and military at Honeywell Transportation in the office in Geneva. As P&L, I'm responsible for 250 million of revenue. Probably next year will be a bit lower. And I'm here today to give you an impression, gut feeling of what's going on in an industry that, of course, is not directly interconnected to the fitness industry itself, but as we are seeing, as I like to say, when China sneezes, everybody get the flu. Probably never more than today this has been the case. So as we will see, most of the economies are really interconnected, and the consequences and the backlash are basically affecting each one of us, our families, our lives, and our industries. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Okay, let's go now directly to the tactics, and let's listen to Julien. Julien, could you say something about tactics? What are you doing during the lockdown? If you have found some new ideas in order to get new revenues or reduce expenses, or something that you think could be interesting for the attendees? Thank you.
Absolutely. I have quite a few things to share with you guys. I have one mantra that I keep saying in my mind again and again during this hard time it is never let a crisis go to waste. Never let a crisis go to waste. So we want to use this difficult time to rebound. And I will present my tactics on the three important aspects, which is members, of course, which is staff and finance. Of course, there's other aspects, but I'll try to be as synthetic as possible on this. First, the members. As soon as the lockdown was on, we decided to survey our members as much as we could, just to tell them, okay, it's the lockdown, but tell us, what is your dream club? What do you want to have when we reopen? So we had a lot of really, really interesting answers, and about 70% of the members answered. The ratio of this email was crazy. So we started thinking about it, and we tried to dig deeper there. So I talked with Alexander, that will present a little later. And at this time, Alexander decided to take the phone and call each of his members. And I was definitely sure that it was one of the critical success factors that would help us save the company. So that's what we did. We call each of our members just to say, hey, hello, how are you? We don't forget you. Everybody's in uncertainty, but we are here with you. And we realized a lot of really important things. And we also realized and were able to categorize the most loyal and engaged members. So the result, what is the result? The result is that for the first 2 months, we only had 6% cancellation. Most of our members decided to stay with us. And again, you don't know really, really good my company, but we don't really have marketing department. We don't have a CRM, but yet people answer to us. And I think the human voice, just hearing someone on the phone is really important. Now, it's a little different because 2 months I could, talk to my members and push them to stay with us for 2 months, and that's what they did. But now we made an offer and created another category of members, the category that would support us and keep paying their membership. We call them the gold members. We sent the email 3 days ago, and so far 20% of our members want to keep paying and have a certain amount of new present we would give to them. We give them 6 months membership for one of their friends. We give them a special phone number as a concierge, so they can call us whenever they want, and they will have and reach one of us directly. And so far, the results are really good. And the other option of this is freezing. So after 2 months, of course, most of our members are freezing their membership. But I definitely, I was so impressed and touched by how strong our members were. On the other side, on the finance and the staff side, I will be really, really quick. But on the finance side, we took the most of this time to renegotiate all of our lease. So of course, some people, some owner would not reduce their lease, but we managed to do it to most of them, and not leases only during the crisis, but even after. And that's really great news for us. We took the most of this difficult time, and everybody would understand. And actually, we were able to save money now and in the future. And to finish, for the staff, first thing was to reassure the staff, you know, because they don't know. We were 700, now we are only 7 at the headquarters. Of course, the CEO and my father comes every day because it's like this, but we're only 7, you know, and for all the other 700 employees, they don't know anything, you know, and it's pretty frustrating not to go to work. So we also decided to call most of them, to reassure them, to write them. And that was really, really, really appreciated. After, and this is a little different, but we had the time to think of different way to operate, not on a coronavirus way, but just on service way. So maybe we will take the most of this time to reorganize how we do service in general. So that's pretty much the 3 directions I'm taking right now. Of course, there's a lot more, and I'd be glad to answer a lot of questions, but so far, that's where we're at.
Thank you very much, Julien. And Alexander, what are you doing in Poland that you think would be interesting for the attendees?
Well, as I informed you before, we closed the 13th of March. And the first thing we did, as Julien said, was we created our sales teams to call our customers, because we thought that in these times when we have a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of psychology, emails would be okay, but we thought with good scripts and good communication with our customers, we would come further. And I think that was a very good move done from our side. Thanks to that, we were able to maintain almost 80% of our fees for April without any major complaints. We gave our customer 3 choices. One was to support the chain, the club, and be a special member, which we will thank later. The second one was prolong the freezing but pay now. And the third one was freeze and not pay. So 80% of our customers choose to pay us one way or another. And we are very grateful for that. For May, we decided not to do any charges because we had built so much trust with the customers base in April and half of March. So we thought we would be risking using that that positive feeling which we have earned so far. So in May we have decided not to charge our customers even if we are closed in any way. We are also giving out daily equipment for free to our members, so they can use barbells or dumbbells or anything which is in reason. We are using that for our social media. And of course, we have a daily virtual classes. The problem with the virtual classes is it's a medium now which I think is going to be difficult to move away as we move on. And the quality varies quite a lot. But that are the 3 major things which we have done. And we have, of course, as Julien also said, looked into the whole structure. We have reduced some layers, and we have tried to look at every single department with a blank piece of paper and see how will this organization look like in 2 years. I'm pleased so far with the results, and the uncertainty is of course difficult because when we open, we will most likely open without any locker rooms, with a very strict regulation regarding how many people we can let in. But I think we will be okay when we open again.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Now let's go to Stefania from Switzerland. And Stefania, what's the lifestyle pill?
Well, behavior change. Behavior change, it does mean that with this new branch of medicine, lifestyle medicine, which I remind is an evidence-based medicine. So it does mean that everything we say, everything we practice have some very solid scientific evidence-based evidences. And what did we discover in the last 20, 30 years? We discovered that the 80% of the most serious and severe diseases in the world, which are called the chronic diseases, the non-communicable diseases, the cardiovascular diseases, the diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, obesity, some form of cancers. Well, 80% of these diseases can be prevented only changing our lifestyle. Only adopting a healthy lifestyle, a healthy nutrition, only moving. We're not talking about physical activity, high intense level, but movement and regular activity, physical activity, can prevent in 80% of the cases these terrible diseases. So there is not a pill, there is a behavior change in these chapters, in these domains that we have to adopt, and this change can bring very important and impressive benefits in the health, for our health.
Thank you very much. And Blair, what's the situation in US? What would you like to say to us?
Yeah, I was starting with MXM, Member Experience Metrics. One of the things that we did before the shutdown, starting in January, we started to see tens of thousands of pieces of feedback from members talking about COVID-19. So we saw in that feedback three main themes, three main areas of fear around COVID-19, and that starts to get louder and louder through February. Going into March, we quickly redirected our product team to create a COVID-19 survey and feedback solution, applying text analytics to that. As shutdowns started to happen in the US, including my own clubs, we made that available for free to anybody in the fitness industry, and we deploy them very quickly with no strings attached. To date, we've collected 115,000 pieces of feedback and growing rapidly. And I'm just going to roll through. I'm going to combine my hats here. I'm going to combine my understanding of member experience across the globe. I'm going to combine that with being a club operator. What I'm going to tell you is there are 5 things that every club should be doing right now. And I'm going to do it less directly the tactics, but I'm going to tell you what we're seeing in the voice of customer, 5 key areas, sort of a strategic direction in each, and starting with the top one and working my way down. Number 1, every member must become an extension of your housekeeping. What happens when somebody sees a member not clean equipment? It's almost like they're watching somebody break into a car out on a street. The feeling they get is that it's almost like a crime's being committed. So every member has to become an extension of your housekeeping and do their job. Number 2, every employee has to become a compliance ambassador. And what I mean by that is, imagine somebody's committing a crime and you're seeing a policeman watch them and the policeman doesn't do anything about it. The voice of customer is saying, I don't like that and I don't trust you very much if your people aren't willing to enforce. Now, here's something else. Those compliance ambassadors have to do this without decreasing your staff friendliness. They have to do it in a way that makes your staff more friendly, not less friendly, because that will affect customer loyalty. Number 3, whatever tools you're giving your members to clean and sanitize, they have to be broadly distributed. If the customer has to work to go find something, if they go there and it's empty, that is going to be a strong signal that you're not paying attention. That was the 3rd one. 4th one, whatever you have to sanitize hands has to be broadly distributed. Now, when I say that, we usually picture having stuff everywhere. Maybe, I don't know. I'm giving you the strategic direction. There might be new tactics that come out of this, like maybe personal sanitizing bottles with your logo on them. I don't know. The 5th one, your best practices around cleaning and sanitizing must be strongly communicated. And they have to be communicated 2 ways, in voice, possibly in print, in video, but they damn sure better be communicated in your daily operations and the actions of your employees. If I don't witness it when I come in, you can talk about it all you want, but unless I see it as the customer, like we always say, your gyms are not clean unless the customer says they are. You're not friendly unless the customer says you are. So that's the world. I'm combining two things, so I'll stop right there, Fausto, and I'm sure other people have other things to add.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Thank you. Irina. Yeah. What are you doing in Russia?
When the closures began, we first and foremost focused on protecting our employees. 100% of our staff are still on the payroll. That includes our group fitness instructor and personal trainers and everyone in our company. We paid everyone in full for March and April, and we said we'll keep you cover payroll during pandemic. Well, I don't honestly think there's anyone else out there who has done this in Russia. But it's been crucial for who we are and what we'll do for our future. We are not paying rent for quarantine right now. Landlords agree for taking care of us, and we're working with them to decide what we're going to do with the rent issue in the future. Now we're fully understanding the way we'll care of our customers, so will impact to our business in the future. And this time is not a vacation, but quarantine, which means we have to be in good shape. No one has canceled business performance. This means that we'll need to work, to be in touch, to motivate our people, to be aware of the latest events and make the right decisions. And it is very important now to think about how to minimize losses and restructure our work or the work of our company in the framework of the new realities. We made the main accent on online services now. The large number of people, and they are not only our customers, being constantly at home, need our professional support. The maintaining of our positive emotional mood and physical form, training with professional trainers of Encore Fitness is available on Instagram for free. And this approach allows not only attracting new audience for us, but it is also testing new services for our company in the future. Encore offering not only online training. Care of Yourself program requires the integrated approach, especially now. Therefore, we also involve meditation specialists, instructors, certified spa specialists, personal trainers, and other interesting speakers. Another important area of our activity was the Encore Food personal diet program with delivery and support of our nutritionists. For those clients who cannot imagine their life without quality care procedures, we also launched the delivery of home care sets, high-quality cosmetics, and additional accessories. And finally, my team, including myself, actively involved in the volunteer program, helping older people delivering food free of charge, taking part of blood donation program. That's who we are.
Thank you, Irina. Let's go to Dave. Dave, you have a wide perspective, being you in two continents, and dozens of clubs are your customer because you have two different point of view as an operator, as a supplier. What would you like to say?
Yeah, so you might have seen that I did a post on LinkedIn which effectively said, hey, let's not rush into reopening as long as we've got the support, because I know in the States there are some states where they included clubs opening in the first stage and stage one. So what I was trying to sort of like say for my gyms, particularly in the UK, is let's not push to go too early whilst we've still got the government funding. If we don't have the government funding, then it changes the whole opinion. But to have 100% of the actual cost, 30% of the revenue, 40% of the customer confidence right here, right now, it's just a little bit too risky. And so I've been pushing for certainly to get the industry talking about it as much as we want to. We want to make sure that we're right. But I don't know if you all remember what it was like about the 2 weeks before we were forced to close. The whole atmosphere in the gyms changed. The whole mood changed. We had to start doing things differently. Instead of our high fives, we replaced them for hand squirts after the end of each class. We had to do a lot of the stuff, but it actually sort of like certainly changed the whole atmosphere, where you've got some members who wanted to be a part of it and were saying, look, we don't care about that. We've got others who were saying, no, look, don't touch me, keep away. So it was a really, it was a really peculiar time. And when we go back, that will be tenfold. You know, look, right here, right now, what we did is we moved to online streaming. We've gone through all the different types of streaming, doing the Zoom, where we've got something like this, and I can pop over and go, Irina, make sure your mountain climbers are up, Blair, good work, and all this. Then we've migrated towards a streaming incorporating the MyZone feedback, which is a new feature that we've released, which means that all our members can actually show on the screen at the same time, so the coach can coach whilst the tiles are actually on the screen together. So we've been able to sort of like do that just to try and to stay connected with those customers. What we're not doing deliberately in regards to the streaming, and there is this talk about, do you charge for it and all this? I'm not a fan of doing that, and the reason being is this is the time for revenue protection, not trying to revenue generation. And you know, I've got 20,000 members. I want to make sure that I stay connected with them in this time. So I want to show them that we are doing everything that we can. Our instructors are doing burpees until the cows come home, to stay connected with our customers, ideally, and for free for the market as well. So it's not a lockdown, you know, private groups. We're opening it up so that we want families to participate. We want friends of friends to participate, so that whether it's Voyage Fitness or Feel Good Fitness, we are the brand that is sort of like, that is coming in people's lounge rooms. And so that's the real thing. Once we go back, once we do go back to the, and we relaunch, hey, look, you know, whilst we're starting to get our head above the whole streaming and how we nail that right, will we have an option, which is what we're planning to do, and Australia is ahead of the rest of Europe in the reopening, is that because we won't be able to have 100% occupancy in our classes, again, we want to protect revenue, so we are going to do a hybrid approach, which will be the live streaming, the actual in-club Group X class, but also offer live streaming to our members, so that therefore they can participate even if they're at home. And again, revenue protection, not revenue generation. And then once that whole settles down, then we can see, because
I think Dave has some problem with the connection. Let's wait for later. And let's go to Alessandro. Dave, we lost your connection. But don't worry,
sorry.
To Alessandro, and then we go back to you. And Alessandro, and could you say something about what's happening in the automotive industry, and if there is something that we can learn and apply in the fitness industry? Just one moment, I unmute you. Okay.
Thanks for that, Fausto. I mean, the funny story about automotive industry is the following one. We don't learn from our previous mistake. What is affecting automotive industry right now and how we reacted is exactly what happened in 2008, when overnight the entire market disappeared, 90% less. Again, as an industry dominated by the goal to make profit and not to serve customer, that's a matter of fact. The entire industry is really unsustainable. Huge quantity of norms like the aerospace. It's really tough to be purpose driven if you can pay the bill at the end of the month. But that's essentially the point of what happened. Again, the automotive industry didn't play as a team, so we produced it till the 31 of March while we were asking our customer to please, if you shut down, let me know. And suddenly, I will never forget that 5-6 p.m. of the 31 of March of this year, I got a series of calls from the biggest OEM, BMW. I said, by tomorrow, we shut down. And these ended up for us with produced goods, finished goods, in excess of 150 millions, only for my department, for my business unit, unsold, for which, of course, we have to pay all the supplier down the road because we are the first level. We have 5 levels below us, tier 2, tier 2, and tier 3. So we are not able to learn. Nevertheless, that's a situation, and as I'm responsible for the strategy of the business unit as well, I personally decided to don't follow the flow, don't follow the wind, and I say there are elements that I can't control from the external, like the coronavirus, but at least there are elements internally that I can still control and steer. And that's why I came up with 5 points basically we are facing. As a matter of fact, the government had to intervene. They have no other choice. So the automotive industry is so complicated that if one card of the castle collapse, all the castle collapse. Starting from the consumer till the last wheel of the carousel, that is the raw material supplier, the cast iron mine or the steel mine. The downside of that is that we will create bigger and bigger conglomerates, too big to fail, like in the case of Lehman Brothers. The positive side of that is that next year, that's even interesting for fitness as well. I mean, I would say thousands of technological startup, especially the ones that are growing by purchasing the market. Imagine Uber in a small version. They will be really in trouble to find money, definitely. So these startup will be available on the market at the price of peanuts, and that's a great opportunity for big companies to acquire technology at a really non-overvaluated price. That's positive. Today more than ever, we have to stay connected with our customer and foster maybe for the first real time. Really a tight collaboration with them. Don't try to sell something to them, but really try to cooperate with them. Downsizing the operation, that's something that we can't avoid. I have plants with 5,000 employees. So every time something like this happens, and this will happen probably again, I have to shut down an operation with 5,000 employees. That's really unsustainable. And last but not least, my personal opinion is that this situation will accelerate the change instead of, even though the fact is that all my big customers cut 70% the development budget for the upcoming years. I mean, if the regulators inject money, there will be a price for that, and the price will be compliant with the emission level, Euro 7, or Tier 4, as fast as possible. This will give basically to boost electrification at the price and the fuel cell and hydrogen technology for the heavy transportation.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you. Let's now talk about the strategies, and let's go back to Julien. Julien, what do you think about the future? Or how do you see the future of the fitness industry? Are you about to change something in your changing room or gym floor or group class? You have a very big studio where you can put 200. How many people you can put there?
Our regular studio is 650 square meter studio. It's tennis field basically, so 6,500 square foot. So we can put a lot of people there. But what I want to share is that there is 2 kinds of future for us. There's the closed future, the reopening future, and maybe the 6 months, 7 months future when everything will be settled. For the closed future, what we think is that as soon as the reopening is on, it's going to be the war. the war, the commercial war, because for us, we are medium range fitness club. But if I was a budget club, my model would totally be challenged. And we can feel that the reopening will be the war on the market. How it will be expressed, I'm not so sure, but we will have to be competitive. That's why we are definitely thinking about doing pre-sales. Maybe we are doing pre-sale. As soon as we have more information about a probable opening, we will do pre-sales. Because what we can get now, maybe we cannot get it later, and maybe at a cheaper price, but I think it's something really, really important we have to do. So of course, the entire layout of our gym floors, of our Group X will change. And I think on the close future, we might not be able to do Group X. We might not access the locker room. But for the gym floor, 1 of 2 cardio machines will be taking off, and we will do circuits so people cannot cross each other. That's basically the thing we want to do. But if you want to go back to strategy, number one idea, as I say, is pre-sale. Like we are opening a new club on the 15th of June, the same thing. Second thing is that, as I said earlier, during the last offer, we managed to identify our gold member, the member that are really loyal. And I think we will work with them so much to make this club grow again, because they are so engaged. They could even work for us for free. You know, if you see some of the answer, I was almost crying. So other stuff is that I definitely think small group training, 8 to 10 people, is going to be the key for us. And also one of our great luck is we have a lot of outdoors. So we might even do like put all our cardio equipment outside, and that's it. So we're thinking about it. Just maybe put a little tent and put the majority of our weight and cardio equipment outside. The good thing is that amongst the survey we did, 80% of our members want to come back as soon as we reopen. So that's a great light at the end of the tunnel. So we really like this, and we are thinking that in this war, maybe not in the near future, but a little bit further, the price might rise a little bit also. And if I want to conclude by the further future, I have 3 items I want to share with you guys. The first is, I talk for France. My personal opinion is that we didn't react so good. I don't want to compare to US, but compared to Singapore, to Taiwan, even to Morocco, you can feel that our people are not educated enough to wear masks, to be safe. So the first item for the far future is education. We have to educate our member and our clients even more with a big smile. The other thing I really realized reading the feedback, having the members on the phone, is that we were already doing more than just fitness, but in the future, our facility and our service have to give more than just working out. Now it's more of a family, it's a community. We are thinking about maybe partnering up with doctors, with psychologists, because when I have all these members on the phone and my directors and everybody, really what we think is that the main reason why they are with us is definitely not the way they work out, really. Is something else. So I cannot grasp exactly what it is, but I think the second item for the further future is that we have to do more than just fitness. And the third thing, but that's pretty obvious, is that we are right now rethinking the entirety of our organizations. So so that's pretty much it for the close future and even further down the road.
Thank you very much, Julien. Alexander, what's your vision of the future?
Well, our tax is a little bit different. So short term, I believe that the major issue is working with people's fear, because we have during 2 months or 3 months of time now being every day educated that this is killing us, that this is dangerous, that we should stay home, we should stay away. So our tactics in our chain will not be new sales. It's going to be minimize cancellations and minimize freeze. I think the new sales will be very weak in the beginning. So if I would put any of my resources would be in reducing cancellations and freezing. And I think that's a lot of psychology in that. And how can we get our product from being something people are fearing to something people feel that they are part of the tribe, they're part of something healthy, they're part of something healthy and good. So that is the short-term changes. I think we're going to have a very, very weak new sales until this fall, or maybe until we have a vaccine. The major change which I can see in front of me coming is that those companies which have had 12-month contract and long-term contracts are in a much safer position today. We talked a lot about flexibility before giving to the customers, and that is hitting those customers, those companies in the bun now. We can also see people who have been using Gym Pass or other as the easy way out to get money for their business now will feel a lot of suffering because that money is cut off or will be cut off as the customers are not coming. So owning your customer is a key thing as a number 2. I can see that at least on the Polish market, it's a very immature market, unconsolidated. It's too little private equity in it. So if we compare with US, where they were able to push them through very quickly to open, size matters. And we are a very weak industry, and it was very, very obvious now that we could not present ourselves in Poland, at least in the best way. We have a organization, but it's not at all as strong in its PR as other strong organizations. So pushing forward, I think we're going to have some severe problems with banks and landlords giving out those fit outs and pushing the cost forward. I think those trends are away, and we are now looking more in the say that building stable business is the key for the future. And the last one is collecting data. I mean, being close with your customers, knowing, using MyZone or whatever data to understanding your customers and building their needs for the future is the key. That's
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexander. And Stefania, what would you suggest to the fitness industry in order to contribute to a healthier planet and healthier bodies?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sorry, because I had some problem. Well, I think that fitness centers can be they can be in very strategic centers, even for prevention and for health. I was listening before during the talks. Some people talked about nutrition and about meditation. So these kind of ideas to collect in a fitness center, something else than only physical activity, can be innovative and very useful. You know what? When I have some patients in my clinic, of course, the patient comes and I can tell him or tell her, you have to do this, you will do this. He has to be motivated, but also I have to give him or her an address, because he needs to know where to go. And sometimes it's not very easy because everybody knows what he has to do, but he doesn't know where to do. So I started years ago to collaborate with some fitness centers here in Geneva, and even with the insurances, because in Switzerland we have a system of health insurance, which is mandatory, so it's complicated. And just to have this direct link and connection between medical doctors and fitness centers to improve the service that fitness centers can give to the patient, and indirectly it will be a lot of it will be benefit also for health. So my idea is that we can reconsider the fitness centers as some, not as clinics of course, but as something like a hub where we can also do meditation, prevention, and adopting a healthy lifestyle with nutrition. Of course, I believe that it needs to be certificated. So we need to train people in fitness centers to give this kind of services. But this is a good idea, and I'm quite sure that in the near future we can imagine it practically done.
Thank you, Stefania. And let's go to the Alessandro from Have you had some experiences in the Singularity University in Silicon Valley that you would like to share?
You mean overall about the fitness or?
Whatever.
Yeah, I would say a general message more than a specific one. We don't have to under-evaluate the convergency of these exponential growing technologies. In simple words, all the technologies connected with increasing computational power, 3D printing, digital manufacturing, digital biology, robotics, and whatever else. Because what we are going to see right now is a convergence. No, I just talked in the case of automotive, we are having a new technological wave. So new technologies going faster and faster and cheaper. Things, the price of the electrical car in the last decade, they went from 100,000 to now 35,000. Even an average family can afford it. That's thanks to the rich people. But together, this is converging with another force. It is basically the end of ownership, for the majority, the end of ownership. And I think this would involve even fitness from the side of the ownership of the machinery, of the tapis roulant, and whatever else. And the point is that this convergence is basically creating what is called with a specific word, quite a buzzword, a disruption. The strategy ahead that we have to plan should be really rely on creating these three horizons, the famous McKinsey one, for the one that know it. But the point is that the error that should have been really made is that going in horizon 2, basically the next 2 to 5 years, with the linear mentality of the horizon 1 today. The point is that if we picture the future with the mindset of today, just thinking that, and the coronavirus was really a breakthrough example. If we think of the future with the mentality that if today was raining, maybe today will rain. If the market will grow today 1%, maybe next year will grow 1%. I think in this situation of disruption and volatility, we will not really go far away. So that's why I personally believe the majority of the business model in the next, I would say 10, 15 years will be, I don't say cancelled, but for sure will be subject to major forces changing it in a very strong way.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. Thank you. Blair, what's your vision of the future?
It's hard to have that conversation without it being a real strong economic conversation. You have, in the US market, you're going to have contraction of probably 30%. 24-Hour Fitness filed bankruptcy. Gold's Gym International this morning filed bankruptcy. You have a lot of small clubs that are not going to make it out of this. So there's going to be a lot of contraction. That means that there's a lot of potential members sitting out there. Yet, potentially, you might not be able to have as many people in your clubs. There's a supply and demand issue. If I normally have 40 people in a class and I limit that to 20, and now I have 20 people out here that are creating demand. And can I fulfill that demand in my club, or does that just crowd out another area? I think there's going to be huge opportunity for much higher prices in smaller clubs. I see that as a potential business model where I'm actually looking for some square footage right now, where you have maybe a 5,000, 6,000 square foot, and it doesn't take as much investment, 5,600, 6,000 square feet. Maybe it's limited to 700 members. Maybe they're paying $300 a month. Maybe when they join, they're sort of joining in a time slot. I think there's a lot of opportunity. I also don't want us to greatly be too prescriptive about all this. It's going to be critically important that you're looking at emerging data, and that has to be. If you don't have a voice of customer system that operationalizes your voice of customer every single day, not surveying them every quarter, that information needs to flow in every day. So you can see that is your best leading indicator of what the customer is thinking and the customer sentiment that's going to guide a lot of your tactics. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity out there. And right now, what we're doing in our clubs, let me put that hat on for a second. We immediately doubled our advertising budget in our marketplace, immediately. And our message out there has been one about building trust. I want to ladder onto something Dave said earlier, because I think it's so important. As a business, as soon as you get locked down, there's on the financial side, there's two documents. There's your income statement and there's your balance sheet. And that income statement, you're trying to gut your expenses on that income statement. And on that balance sheet, you're trying to get as much cash as you can on that balance sheet. What we did the minute that we were locked down, we refunded any dues that were collected that day, and we refused to collect any dues for this entire time. What's happening in the US right now is some of the states are coming back and saying you cannot collect dues while you're shut. And so a lot of companies are going to have to hold on in their balance sheet money that they're going to have to refund now. And some of the member management software companies are even refusing to collect dues for you if you're shut down, because they're afraid they're going to be held accountable for it. So when I talk about income statement or balance sheet, there's another line on the income statement that we have to think of, and that's revenue. And I want you to think about the future revenue, not the revenue right now. And it's critical that you're building trust while you're shut down. And the trust says, and you'll build trust when people say, I love the way you cared about my personal balance sheet, because I'm as a consumer, I sort of have an income statement and a balance sheet as well, and I'm trying to conserve my cash. That's one area where I build trust. The other area is really understanding the changes you have to make around all your practices and policies and communicating them constantly during this lockdown. And that's actually how we're spending our marketing money. Social media, TV, radio, print, everything is to build trust so that when we reopen, while my competitors are out there silent because all they can think of is how am I going to sell a membership, that's not what we're doing. We're out there saying we're the most trusted brand here. And when the doors reopen, this is where you ought to walk into.
Thank you, Blair. Blair, I forgot, for how long have you been a Rex member?
15 years.
15
Rex member for
years.
15. Yeah, my roundtable's been together for probably 30 years now. Yeah.
30 years. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Irina, what do you think about the future in Russia and in the world, but mainly Russia? Just one moment, I unmute you. Okay, let's go.
Thank you. Well, I think life is longer, definitely longer than quarantine. And I absolutely agree with Dave. And we also will not rush to reopen our clubs. And so our strategy will be wait and see, to doing its best to ensure the reopenings will happen in a safe way. As we look to reopen, our team will be working with the local authorities to determine what will be the best. So because we need to create confidence with our customers and for them to feel it's okay to come to our clubs. So the logic dictates we'll need to reopen gyms before, unfortunately, before a vaccine is created. So we must to prepare for reopen while the virus is still active. How will adapt our clubs to still deliver valuable experiences while avoiding virus transmission? So there is no one answer, of course. We'll need to adjust operating procedures, to retrain our staff, to keep the gym as a safe space. All things are crucial. It's clear the club who come forward with the most safe model and the most convenient for our clients, while still delivering a good experience, will have a huge commercial advantage. And we have to know how many clients will be back to our club, and to what we're offering before we reopen. We have to be prepared to give them the right combination of right things and services. And so we fully understand that those who will be able to survive these events, but my expectation it's going to be not more than 70% of Russian markets, will discover new opportunities and get a chance to focus on the other crucial areas of the development. That's what I think. Thank you,
Irina. Let's go to Dave. Dave, let's close with you, and then we go to the question and answer. Only a couple of questions. And Dave, how do you see?
No, of course, and apologies for the internet. I think the advantage that we have in the UK is that we had the Chief Medical Officer, Chris Whitty, Professor Chris, come out and say that there's no other, no situation, no age, no whatever, where exercise is not beneficial for you. So the advantage as globally as an industry, what we're looking at right now is that the benefits of exercise are brought front and center into the debate. When we reopen, and our whole philosophy for all my gyms has just been 4 points. That's all I say to all the staff. You need to be clean, safe, friendly, and fun. So that's our mantra as an operator for all our staff. Make sure it's clean, safe, friendly, and fun. Now, that's not going to change when we reopen the clubs. So that whole mantra, clean, safe, friendly, fun, is not going to change. Of course, we're going to make sure it's safe, i.e. masks and sanitizers and cleaning equipment and all this. But we are still going to do within our powers to be friendly and fun. As if you look at the Voyage, you just need to look at the Voyage Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see some of the crazy shit that the guys do. One of the points that Alexandra brought up in regards to those with contracts, I'm not too sure that we have a defendable position against the enforceability of contracts. So I'm a lot of our memberships are contractual. However, we are changing the terms of what they signed up for. So when a customer is signed up for accessing the gym 24/7, I've got my gyms which are 24/7, or access them at a certain time and they can't get into classes, we are fundamentally changing the terms of the supply agreement that they signed up for. So I'm not too sure that that there will be many judges that will defend us as an industry to enforce the contracts. The big thing that I think that this hinges on is the flexibility of the landlords. I think that's the important thing, is how the landlords are going to play. Blair, you made a fantastic point in regards to, in this time, I think, as you know, if you see it as a layer cake, we all sit in the cake at different parts. In some parts where we are looking down, providing to our customers, our members. Other times we're looking up to our landlords. And in the same way that we look up to our landlords saying, you know, give us a break, we've got no members, we're not charging, you know, we're also saying that to our members. And it's those members that remember the compassion that we show during this time that I think will have the long-term beneficial brand building benefit down the track. As an industry, I think the concern that we do have is when we open our doors and everyone realizes, as they have, that the exercise is a benefit, as Stefania had said, I mean, that's undeniable. The issue that we have, I worry about, is the negative publicity and media using our industry as a whipping horse of secret cameras going into gyms, going, have a look at how close this fitness center is and all this. And then the media ramifications of that, pushing people away from our clubs, is a concern. And that is a concern that I do worry about from an operator and someone that has been in this game for a few years.
Thank you, Dave. So now it's time for question answer. Gabriella, have you choose some questions?
A lot of the questions have been answered directly by the panelists during the webinar, so I'll concentrate on the ones that are still there. For example, it's been asked if you perceive there to be a possible opportunity for purchases, like competitors, in terms of competitors. Do you plan to take over some existing clubs?
To who is the question?
The question is not addressed to anybody in particular, but for example, it was talked about. You talked about small studios and the potential that they might have. So, Blair, would you like to?
Yeah, sure. There is going to be a lot of opportunity there. We think the studios are not in a great spot as they reopen in the U.S. A lot of studios are independent. There's somebody who's probably making their house payment and their car payment by having that studio if they need to have it full. And also you need to think about the business model from in terms of, are they paying a dues, ongoing dues, and they can turn dues back on, or is it fee for service? Because if it's fee for service and they reopen, now they're just basically going to be using the pent up, supply that was already there and not necessarily collecting any money. So they would still have to use up of what people have purchased and then sell out of that. There is going to be a lot of opportunity. I think what you're seeing with some of the bankruptcies with the big clubs is they're going to be trying to sell a lot of these. And so, and then you're going to have, I know just in our valley here, there's going to be a couple that probably don't make it. Now, I'm probably not going to go try to buy them, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity for acquisition in the U.S. I think you'll see private equity companies jump in and do a lot of acquisitions. So maybe if you're trying to sell, it might be a great opportunity as well.
Thank you.
Do you think that's the same in your side of the country, of the world?
To who, Gabriella?
Irina.
Yeah, would you please repeat the question, please?
Yes, sure. Opportunities to purchase, to take over, clubs or places that cannot make it.
So, well, this is very good question. So we, as for the main strategy of our company, we prefer to concentrate on our existing clubs. But if we will find some good location and some good club, why not? So we'll see. It depends on the numbers.
Right.
Today, last one.
Yeah. Today, one quick question. If the government provide, well, let me tell you, a lot of people, I think, are a bit concerned about the right timing of the reopening. So time it well in terms of the funds that they are now getting. Obviously, once they reopen, they will not get them anymore. So one question today was, if the UK government provide partial help after June, will this change your strategy?
Look, I think the big thing with that, John, who asked the question, is that I think the government would need to change its philosophy on what furlough means. In America, you can effectively furlough people. There's government grants, but you keep people in work. In America, it's a job keep situation where you can pay people in Australia in $750 a week, but you can keep them work. In the UK, for some reason, you can pay people 80% up to £30,000, but they're not allowed to work, which is ludicrous. So the government would need to change its philosophy on that, because for me, what I have to do is I have to get my staff who can't check their emails. They're not supposed to do anything that's generating. I have to formally get my staff to email me that they volunteer to take classes for me, that they volunteer to stream, because they know, and I know, that they're being paid 80% of their salary, right, to literally do what? And now, of course, they're allowed to train, as in they're allowed to upskill. But when you've got, so to your question, John, is that the government would need to change its philosophy on that. Reopening based on zero revenue. So if your revenue's at 100%, it drops down to 50%. Now, if the government effectively did a calculation and said, right, it's going to drop to 50%, we'll top it up to 100%, of course everyone would open and we would get this economy back going. Because our industry, the question would be, what, and everyone's got their different views. My view is, why are we closing? We're the ones providing health and safe, the resilience for people to fight the virus. It's not our members that are typically getting sick. It's the people that don't come into our gyms that are ones that are going sick. So we almost feel like we're the ones being punished because of this. And so I think, that's to your point, is that, is that how we reopen and the support will determine that economic equation, whether you continue on.
Thank you. We have come to the end of this series of webinars. So we can, Gabriel, would you like to say something?
No, we'll receive plenty more, but there is no more time, I guess.
Yeah, we don't have time for other questions. So, okay, let's meet again next Monday with other speakers from all around the world. Thank you very much to all panelists for contributing and to all attendees to attend. Thank you.
Thanks, Fausto. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.